On October 28, 2004, 50-year-old scuba diver John David was looking to break the world record of 270 meters in Bushman's Hole, one of the deepest freshwater caves in the world. However, when he reached the bottom, he found something that sent chills down his spine. He found the body of Dion Dreyer, a 20-year-old scuba diver who had unfortunately died in that cave 10 years ago. Now, the reason Dion's body was never recovered was because he had reached a certain depth where bodies couldn't float back up. So, to let people know, a plaque in his name was put near the diving point of the cave, which is how David knew what he was looking at. After staring at the body in shock for a few seconds, he slowly got closer and tried to retrieve it. Unfortunately, after a decade of being stuck in the water, his tank was firmly engraved in the mud. Now, keep in mind that David had already exceeded the time he was supposed to be at that depth, and staying any longer would be fatal. Instead, he tied a line to Dion's body and returned to the surface to tell his friends what he had just found. News about the discovery of Dion's body spread quickly, David even promising Dion's parents that he would retrieve him. After preparing for a couple months, the plan to retrieve Dion's body was scheduled on January 28, 2005, and unfortunately, things wouldn't turn out as expected. Now, just to give you a little context of how dangerous cave diving is, the diver must always monitor his oxygen levels at all times, avoiding any sharp rocks that could damage his equipment, and not forgetting that the water at that depth is extremely poisonous to humans, causing complete body failure. So, in order to increase the success rate of this plan, David worked with police divers, defense force, and medics to ensure that everything went smoothly. The plan itself to involve David using the line that he had left on Dion's body earlier to retrieve him. Once he gets the body out of the mud, he would pass it on to his friend Don Shirley, who was at a higher altitude at 220 meters, then up to the next person, and so on. Sadly, this isn't how things would turn out. An hour and a half after the dive had begun, the surface crew received a shocking message from the support divers claiming that they hadn't seen any activity from David or Shirley. Shortly after, another message would reach the surface, and this one was from Shirley, stating that he had seen David in the distance, not moving. After this, Shirley tried to retrieve David himself. He exceeded his target point, resulting into his equipment imploding, which led him to suffering from oxygen poisoning and vomiting 220 meters underwater. Fortunately, he kept hold of the line and he was pulled out eventually, still conscious. However, David didn't make it. When David's body was retrieved, he had actually managed to attach Dion's body to his. And on investigating, the crew looked through the footage recorded by David's waterproof camera, and it was nothing but short of tragic. The footage shows David moving along the line trying to find Dion's body. Unfortunately, Dion's body was unexpectedly loose in the mud and moving around uncontrollably. Despite this, David tried to complete his mission, but ended up getting tangled in the line. This led to David neglecting his equipment, which in turn caused his body to be poisoned by the water. His muscles stiffened and slowly stopped functioning. Trying to stay conscious, the last thing he ever saw was Dion's lifeless body. Shortly after this, David passed away. The only good news was that the tangling kept their bodies together, allowing him to retrieve Dion's body successfully and completing the mission. He also managed to fulfill his promise to Dion's parents, unfortunately at the cost of his own life.